you've mentioned previously that because you're now through life experiences and I can only imagine where you are, but you're hyper aware of what's happening in front of you, the words people use, the delivery, the tonality, the body psychology. In fact, when I was after I finished playing football, I went to study acting, and I went to study under a woman. Um, Her name is Jacqueline McClintock, and she is from the Meisner School. The Meisner School, they do repeating. Are you familiar with repeating?
Yeah.
I'm sure you are because there's a crossover here. And when I went to this repeating, it's basically you're standing up in front of another person or sitting down in front of another person, and you're just paying attention to the other person. And the rule is the most important person in the situation is not yourself, it's the person standing in front of you or sitting in front of you. And you do it for hours. You blinked, you cross your legs, you look down, you're uncomfortable, you look uncomfortable, you're thinking, you're staring at me. You notice every single mannerism and tick. But what I realize is that because I did it for 2 years, you can't turn it off. And because I'm aware of it now, if I'm listening to a significant, my wife or family member or people who I work with, I'm staring at them and I know how they're behaving and you can't hide it. It's like there's a giant ticker of like what they're doing. I think it's hard to be present, as you said, Chase, kind of knowing what I know now. And I know you've talked about this before. It's hard for me to be present because maybe I'm too present. I don't know what it is. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that adds richness to an interaction. So if I'm doing that and I'm doing it without judging the other person, because we only judge to make ourselves feel better. There is no other reason. Like somebody says, "Oh, I'm judging him because he's an asshole," or whatever. That's made up. All those reasons are made up. We only judge to feel better about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can do that in a conversation and I'm not judging, I think it enriches the interaction totally. And I think if you're doing it, there's two ways to do it. And one of them, you're behind your eyes and really like over analyzing what's going on. Mostly what you're analyzing is how do they feel about me? How are they perceiving me? How are they reacting to my story?
Mm-hmm.
The other one is in front of your eyes, to where like your awareness is not stuck back in your head. You're actually present in the conversation. So I would say your presence is like in front or behind your eyes. And if you're in front of your eyes, no matter what you're doing, I think you're contributing to the betterment of a conversation and to probably the betterment of the other person.
Understood. You've talked about something that I was waiting to do this podcast, and I thought it was interesting. You talked about, you're contributing to the conversation, but because we were on the subject of being hyper aware of people's body psychology and mannerisms, you've once mentioned that it's easy for you to spot someone who's disciplined from across the room. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, typically, if you look at a person who is disciplined, that's one of the first things I see when I see people. And this is like across an airport waiting area or something like that. You can spot disciplined people based on a few factors. And one of the first factors, and the most telling factor of a person with self-discipline, is that they have composure. Their movements are slow, they're unhurried, they complete gestures. Somebody like reaching for a coffee cup and they'll stop and then start again. So they complete gestures and the movement is slow. Their body movements are pretty slow. That means that they probably have discipline elsewhere in their life. So typically when somebody has discipline, it's going to come out in our movement. It's going to slow our movement down, and it's going to slow us down from talking too fast or moving our eyes too fast in a conversation. That is one of the biggest tells of disciplined people.